In November 1962, the U.S. Department of Justice issued a demand to the American Zionist Council: register immediately as a foreign agent. This was a requirement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA. Under this law, any group acting on behalf of a foreign power must publicly disclose its funding, its expenditures, and every meeting held with government officials to influence American policy. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy led the investigation. His department had found that the Israeli government was moving hundreds of thousands of dollars through the Jewish Agency to shape American public opinion and political discourse. The lobby resisted the order. By the end of 1963, following a period of rebranding and internal restructuring, the pressure to register as a foreign representative vanished. When the organization re-emerged as IPAC, it did so as a domestic American lobby. This classification provided a legal status that exempts the group from FARA's transparency rules, allowing it to fund U.S. elections directly. Today, that lobbying effort has evolved into a massive financial operation. During the 2024 and 2026 election cycles, political spending from this network climbed past $100 million. This presence is unique among U.S. allies. While nations like Great Britain or Australia maintain close diplomatic ties, they do not have a corresponding domestic PAC structure spending tens of millions of dollars on American congressional races. The $100 million spent across those two recent election cycles represents a scale of financial influence that few other single-issue interest groups can match. A significant portion of these funds is channeled through a subsidiary super PAC called the United Democracy Project. As a super PAC, it can raise and spend unlimited sums to support or oppose candidates, as long as it does not coordinate with their official campaigns. The ability to deploy this level of capital as a domestic entity is the direct result of the legal path established when the group avoided foreign agent registration 60 years ago. In recent years, the group has moved away from traditional access lobbying, which relies on building social ties with lawmakers, toward a more confrontational approach to political enforcement. Their current strategy focuses heavily on primary elections. By spending millions to support challengers or oppose incumbents in these early races, the group can influence which candidates survive to reach the general election, specifically targeting those who question unconditional military aid. This strategy is supported by the dual citizen status of many donors. While federal law bans foreign nationals from contributing to U.S. elections, individuals holding dual citizenship are recognized as American donors, allowing them to legally fund super PACs. Representative Thomas Massie has described this mechanism in practice. He points to the $400,000 spent against his campaign as evidence of how this financial weight pressures lawmakers who deviate from the lobby's priorities. This creates a legal framework where interests aligned with a foreign power can exert direct influence over the outcome of domestic U.S. elections through large-scale, concentrated spending. The primary policy goal of this influence is the continued flow of U.S. foreign military aid, which currently sits at a baseline of roughly $3.8 billion annually. This aid functions as a credit system. The billions authorized by Congress do not leave the U.S. as cash. Instead, they are restricted funds that must be spent with American defense contractors. This creates a cycle of mutual benefit. The lobby secures the federal funding, and major U.S. defense firms fulfill the orders, linking pro-Israel advocacy directly to the profits of the American military-industrial complex. By ensuring the hardware pipeline remains open, the lobby serves as a political guarantor for a multi-billion-dollar domestic industry. This environment has produced what is known as the Washington Consensus. It is a political landscape where multi-billion-dollar military aid packages are rarely debated, and are instead treated as a permanent fixture of U.S. policy. This guaranteed military backing supports a doctrine of maximum pressure in the Middle East. Critics argue that this policy contributed to the expansion of the 2026 conflict, a war characterized by widespread regional strikes and high civilian casualties. The persistence of this consensus is tied back to the domestic lobby. For many members of Congress, the risk of a well-funded primary challenge makes it difficult to propose alternative diplomatic strategies that might conflict with the lobby's goals. There is now growing tension between the lobby's First Amendment rights to advocate and a rising demand for transparency regarding the origins of political influence. Some lawmakers are responding with new legislation, such as the Dual Loyalty Disclosure Act. The bill seeks to require federal candidates to disclose any dual citizenship, echoing the transparency requirements that the Department of Justice first attempted to enforce in 1962. As the costs of conflict rise, the central question remains: can American foreign policy be truly independent if its primary drivers rely on a legal framework that avoids the standard rules of foreign transparency?